very capable representation in Washington. But we need a coordination between the state, which is where we have our capabilities, and the knowledge of the federal transportation capabilities in order to coordinate some type of ability to obtain the financing and the authorization for your needs here in Baldwin County. So we would just complement what you already have in Washington, but coordinate it with the state of Alabama along with the local officials here in Baldwin County.
Personally, I certainly have known you personally for a while, and I'm certainly very aware of y'all's capabilities, and I'm in favor of what y'all do. My primary, or I guess in my point of view, is that our primary need would be some help with the House in funding from the EPA fine money. Would be my major, I guess, issue that I think Baldwin County will need some help with if the EPA clean water fines come from BP and how they'll be distributed from Washington to Alabama and then from Alabama hopefully to the coast. And could you help me with any insight on that, please?
We feel like we can assist your ample representation already on the federal level. As you may be aware, we're friendly and knowledgeable with all of the people who are making these decisions in Washington. The Transportation Authorization Committee, which is necessary to begin the process, and the Appropriations Committee, which I served on when I was in Congress, to ultimately get some financing. And in addition to that, to meet and to go with your commissioners or you or whoever would like to go to Washington to talk to the Transportation Secretary to see if there are any innovative new ways of handling local projects, such as a toll road or such as any activity that could permit the Transportation Administration to assist us in expediting the completion and extension of all of these needs here in Baldwin County.
Any other comment?
Mr. Chairman, you know, for lack of a better term, I'm going to call them the Tea Party Republicans that have taken over Congress, and currently I'm watching to see whether they're going to be successful in changing the way Washington is operated. I also see a change in Montgomery now that we have a Republican legislature for the first time in over 100 years and a Republican governor, both of whom have committed to Baldwin County. I question the amount of dollars and cents that we're spending for lobbyists. Is this the same game? Same political process would probably be a better way to phrase it that we had a year ago. And I guess that's a question, because I understand the importance a year ago of lobbyists, but does that still exist today? Or are we watching America change?
Well, I won't answer your question, but I have some thoughts along those lines. The congressman was certainly a member of Congress in Washington during some of the very best years that we had when Congress got the balanced budget, so many other things that you did, Congressman. Right here in Baldwin County with the Foley Beach Express, your example of leadership and funding for that project, that built that project in innovative ways, along with the probate judge that was here earlier who was mayor of Foley at that time. And you're just always looking for better ways, less expensive and more efficient ways to deliver government services to the people of Alabama and to the nation. And you've been a leader in that, I thought, and I think you will be again. For us in Washington, you haven't forgotten all those things you learned there, and you know the inside and outside and the way those services delivered and deliberated in Congress. I think you can add greatly to what we have in Washington and at the state level. You certainly served at state level as well. And I am overly optimistic about probably what can be done, but in times like this, we need as much wisdom and knowledge as we can get to deliver the best product we can for most economical price to the citizens of the state and the county. And
thank you.
I didn't mean to answer
Mr.
for you.
Chairman, no, but I want to tell you also, not only do you have a Republican House in Washington and now Republican legislative bodies in the state and a Republican governor, but you have tremendous shortfalls in monies. And it's not going to be as simple as it was when we got the money for the Foley Beach Express, and when we got the money for the Sonny Callahan Bridge. When we did all of that, we did have a balanced budget at that time. Now you have a huge deficit in Washington, and you're going to have limited capabilities both from Washington and the state. The state also has severe financial problems. I mean, very severe problems. As you see in the paper this morning, the governor's announced proration both in the general fund, I think at 15%, which is where the highway monies come from, and the educational trust fund at 3%. So you're going to have to find innovative new ways to finance any infrastructure, whether it be highways or sewers or what. And you're going to have the capability of going to the people in charge of that and presenting to them new and innovative ways to handle the shortfalls that they have in Montgomery. There's going to be money available, but it's not going to be available like it once was. There's going to be money available in the state of Alabama for highways, but you have a lot of needs all over the state, in Huntsville and in Montgomery, everywhere. And you're going to have to fight and come up with methodologies of coordinating an effort between the state and the county and the federal government to come up with new ideas about financing of this infrastructure. So we have some ideas which I've talked with you about, some suggestions. We don't know if they'll work or not, but I think they will, to come up with different ways to explain to the state to give us this money, let us rebuild our infrastructure, let us restart the shortages in the general fund for the state because of tourism last year. If you start here, you help the other areas of the state because of the tourism dollars that will come back to Baldwin County. So I think there are ways, Commissioner, that we can coordinate, and we think we can be of assistance. Thank you.
Questions?
Well, I'd just like to say, I know the success we've had so far with our levies has been very great, in Washington. We've brought millions of dollars to this county for projects that we did not have before when we tried to do it by ourselves. So it has paid off, in the past. So
You have the recommendation before you. Are there other questions?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we adopt resolution number 2011-051 of the Baldwin County Commission, which pursuant to Amendment 750 of the Constitution of Alabama 2001.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Gruber.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I think, again, I appreciate what Callahan and Associates can offer us. If I may, I'd like to move to table this till April 5th, and my reason being that we have some uncertainties with some infrastructure issues that we have coming up with the Department of Transportation with some primary projects we have here. And I feel like that we will have a little more certainty with that in a couple of weeks. I believe we have a meeting is trying to be arranged next week sometime. And that would give me a little more direction as to how our financing needs are going to move forward for infrastructure for the next short to midterm with some of these large projects. And so without me babbling too much, but I guess I'd move to table this for 1 month until the April 5th meeting, please.
I'll second that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Then Commissioner Gruber's motion, I guess, died for lack of a second. So the motion to table is moved and seconded, moved by Commissioner Dorsey, seconded by Commissioner James. this came up at work session, and certainly we have a motion on the floor that all these questions and concerns didn't make it to the table at that time, but I guess all these blogs and emails and other things that come through have had their effect, and so we have a motion and a second to table.
Can I,
Yes, sir. Question?
you know, since our work session, I have been watching what's going on in Wisconsin. The courage the governor is showing up there. I like to think this commission has had courage to make changes that need to be done. I hope God is going to shine on us again and get us back to where we are servant leaders. And that's what I expect out of our elected representatives in Montgomery and in Washington. I agree with Commissioner Dorsey. Let's give it some time. Let's look. You know, they may shut down the federal government, you know, and I think these are very interesting times, and happy to be one of those Republicans that are trying to make a change and bring America back to the people. Nothing against Callahan and Associates. I'm very happy that Congressman Callahan, all that he's done for this area over the years, but this may be a new game with a new set of rules, so I'd like to see what till April.
Okay, any other comments? Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Okay, motion passes 3-1 with the chairman voting no. So the item is tabled, and if there were concerns, I just regret that we didn't let folks know about this agenda item prior to today. And I apologize for that. Congressman, thank you so much for your offer of service, and I look forward to hopefully that you will serve us in the future, and we'll come back to this again in 2 weeks. Okay, next on the agenda, David.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, just procedurally related to that item, certain advertisement was required for its consideration today, so we will re-advertise y'all's consideration of the same at for the April 5 meeting, just so you know.